Okay, guys. Today we are going to talk about problem formulation, objectives, and reviews. And I'm sure that you are already familiar with these things. When you have done the master thesis, probably some of you have presented your research proposal to your supervisor or team of supervisors. So you are quite familiar with this probably. And what I'm going to do is just go over this to fill any probable gap, any probable. But I know that you have the experience. So research formulation is an important part actually for any type of research. How to start? You make a formula as you do for you make a mathematical formula for a phenomenon. But for your research, you need to find a formula as well. But this formula is not mathematical. It's a strategy, actually. It's a strategy. So I can make an example. So sometimes I see that some postdocs, or of course with my own experience, or somebody comes to sabbatical to me. I'm saying that, okay, you are coming to me, you are very welcome. I'm happy to, what are you going to do here with me? And they have no answer to that. I'm going to do research. Okay, we are all doing research. What are you going to do? Is there any specific interest in my field of research? Am I doing something which is attractive to you? Which part is it? Do you see any problem with it? You used to want to develop something. You are coming here for me. And in some cases, I realized that they have nothing. They just want to come to me. And nowadays, if somebody asks me, for example, for being with me for postdoc or sabbatical, immediately, well, why are you coming to me? What part of my research is it? So it means that they have not formulated any research. In some universities, when you come inside, probably like here, you already have a project defined by a supervisor. So your direction is clear. But in some universities, it's not like that. You should go and take courses with other PhD students, and then you will select a supervisor. Then the supervisor immediately asks, problematize your research for me. Then you should know what is problematize. So how to problematize? This is the common things in all subjects, and I will know that. If you want to convince a company in the future to get funding, for instance, you need to first problematize the problem. If you want to apply for a research position or something like that, you need to have a goal and problematize it. Based on this problematization, those who are familiar with the research methodology, as for example, our professors or researchers, senior researchers, we are familiar with problematization. Based on the problematization that you write, we clearly can see if this is the guy to hire or not, if this is the project to fund or not. So that's important, very important that you should take it serious when you want to do a research. So the first thing that a PhD student normally asks, or anybody who wants to get to the new research, is a new idea. But from where? A PhD student, I remember that when I was a PhD student for the first time, my professor, I didn't know what to do. I came and my professor gave me just a paper. Read it. I didn't have any idea what to do. What he had, he knows. He had something in his mind. But without telling me what, but he tried to guide me by giving the paper. So the best way, and I would say the simplest way, is to discuss with the persons that who have the experience in the field. That's quite normal. Everybody knows that. Do you have any idea toward that? Well, how do we do that? Because they have the good overview over research. And of course, the supervisor who wants to train you. The supervisor knows which has been done and which has not been done. Then tries to guide you directly or indirectly towards that goal. If you are going to do some practical thing, you can get this idea, new idea from industry. For example, for PhD, for bachelor training that we have had at this school, there have been different organizations and companies, then they gave proposals for doing thesis work. Then the students had one supervisor there, one supervisor here. We support the academic part, the scientific part, they support the theoretical part, and it's a good match to have a high quality thesis work. So if we don't have these things, what can we do? You do not have supervisor. You do not have good team of research and you are alone. So you want to initiate something, then you have to be conscious. You should know what is happening in the society. Look at social media, always read newspapers, magazines that are scientific to see what is the problem in the society. And then you have to do a good literature review. Literature review give you a very good idea. One thing that I'm going to emphasize is that we do research to solve a problem for the society. We are not doing research for doing research. One person comes to me and says, Mehdi, let's write this paper together. Okay, we write this paper. And I said, which type of problem do you want to solve? What is the problem you want to solve? We want to see how much, for example, something we can get over the water. Okay, thank you very much. And you want to compute that from that water. Now, but I said, do we have many mathematical models directly has a direct relation with the thing that you want from the water wave, water height? Yes, there is. Then why do we have to do that? We just look at the water height. Why do we have to do a research for that? To get for that? Or who will pay for that research? Which type of problem you want to solve? We all know that, for example, there are lots of winds around the northern parts of Sweden. We know that there are winds there. What are you looking for? We know that from where we can get this energy from sun, which places of the world. What are you going to do? You want to find any better place? Because, the problem is that they have not problematized the research. It's like that a person finds a key and go and buy a car for it. No, we shouldn't think like that. We should first find the problem. Where is the problem? What is the problem? And you find it. If this problem can help you to benefit, to get benefit to the society or not, that's innovation. So your research results should be seen inside the society. It is not just you want to publish a paper. You are not doing research for publishing paper. You are not doing research to write a PhD thesis. You are not doing research to get promotion to be professor or senior lecturer, docent. No, research you are doing to solve a problem for the society. That's the main goal. So this new idea, I just go through again one more time, from researchers, from supervisors, from industry, from media, and from literature review. If you are do it alone and you have the experience, simply you are a PhD, you are docent, and you want to change the direction, like I did 8 years ago. I changed my direction to another field. And I had to do a lot of studies. reading articles to get what is happening in the world in that subject until I found something myself. So research process, I am sure that you know all the steps that we have to go through from the beginning, from the idea up to the end. It's called research process. But research process has steps that we have to follow. It comes from a theory or practice. You want to solve a theoretical problem, then we will discuss what is a theoretical problem. Then also, what is a practical problem? Here, I just open a parenthesis here. I said that one guy came to me. I said, I'm going to do a theoretical work with you. Then what is type of theoretical work? And he showed me a lot of mathematical derivations. He said, okay, I can understand you have spent a lot of time to derive this formula. I appreciate it. What is the goal? How much this derivation improves the theory? What don't we know that you want to give us? The developments in theory is not just to make new formula, new things, new drive formula, new way of thinking. Theory like Einstein's theory, like we have other guys. For example, we have Ed Fuchs in my subject, and he just had 18 papers during his life, but made a big revolution in the subject. That's the theory. I was thinking that, okay, instead of doing this, we should do that. That's the theoretical, because they know the foundation from the beginning. Okay. But practical ideas, that's much more easier to find, because you're working with something and you find problem. When you work with numbers, when you work with instruments, you have challenges there to work, and it's easy to find it. What theoretical issues, theoretical things, I would say that we cannot go very much deep in theory, actually. So everything that we are doing now in engineering science is practical oriented. So you will have a problem area. Then you know what you are going to do roughly about the subject. You have you propose your research questions. You need to do research review, and we will discuss how. Study design. I'm sure that you have already have a lecture about it. Execution of the study design of experiment, analysis and synthesis, and discussion and conclusion. Well, it is similar to a paper, but don't look at it. A paper is part of a research. Paper is also a scientific process. But in the research you start with a problem. It can be theoretical, it can be practical, and you come to the end and conclusion. But how you present this process, this is another thing. You can present it a presentation. You can write it like a report. You can write like an essay. You can write communication. You can write a review paper. You can write a research paper. And different ways you can present your result. That's another issue. But for all of these things, you follow the same process. So what is problematization? Well, I haven't found this in the book, actually. I'm writing this for you. But I would say that problematization, here we say it's a brief text that you write to formulate. It is very rough, and you come to be specific. It's very general, and you try to become too specific. That's to the questions. You have a problem and you break it down these to small pieces and put them together, make a puzzle of it. That's called problematization or problematization. Problematization can be done even without that paper. You can do it in your mind. For example, if I want to do research nowadays, I do not write it down for myself, for problematizing for myself. I know what to do. Okay, I want to do this research. Okay, the first thing I should do is that, and that. And the questions are, if I can do that, I can find all of them in my mind. I do problematization in my mind, but you cannot see it. You cannot see it. The other guy, your supervisor, then you have to write it down on the paper so they can see it. So when you are asked to problematize it, it means that you write what is in mind. How have you formulated your problem in your mind? Write it down for them. I know that you have discussed it. Problematization comes from general to specific. You break it down, you come to a specific. For example, you want to work about robot navigation. Okay, robot navigation, interesting. But robot navigation is big. Which type of robot are you going to navigate? Then I said, okay, for example, drone. Then you limit it. Okay, drone. Now in drone navigation, which type of methods we have for drone navigation? Then you come to specific. Then you limit until you come to objective. Then we will discuss about how can we write the objective and the questions, research questions that you have to answer. And we will discuss later as the questions should not be that simple that somebody can answer by yes and no. But for example, one person can we use gravity field for measure what is to see what is happening inside the earth? Of course. You want to do research for getting that answer? Of course we can. The research questions should be researchable. Should not be easy that somebody has experience simply with the simple points I know. Yes, that's not research anymore. And we come to that, how to write objective and how to write research question with more details. So how to problematize? Well, clarify what you are going to do. What is your phenomenon that I just mentioned, for example, coating in thermal spray. Coating is big. Then you try to come to specific. Okay, coating of, for example, turbine of jet fighters. You are specifying. So among these jet fighters, which one? Then you come to specific. You write the research background. What has happened generally then. And also we will discuss a literature review should be also from general to specific. That's usual. What is the gap? What has been done? What has not been done? And you should show your position amongst all of these things that have been done. That's the research gap. And research gap is the same slide that I discussed about how to find the idea. That's the research gap, actually. Then you will find the gap. All right, you will write preliminary purpose and objectives. And from the objectives, you come to research question. Note that this objective is not a question. It's not a question. Research question comes to clarify the objective. I will discuss how to write objective later. I would say that literature review is one of the hardest parts of any research. You are in a dark room. You don't know to which direction you should go. The more you study, the lighter the room will be. You are mapping out the research. You are mapping out what has happened. So how to start a research? The best thing, simple thing, is textbooks, because textbooks are written for the person to teach them. You should be aware of all the textbooks that exist in your that area. I do not mean that you need to read all of them with details, but you should be aware of it. Which maybe one chapter or one section of that book is related to your subject. That's enough. Go and find that and read that. Because textbooks, writing a book, for me as a writer, is different than a writing paper. Paper, my audiences are professionals. They are familiar. I don't need to go to details. They don't need to mention many things. But book is written for students, for the researchers who are beginning. So it's not that, except as ontologists, that the papers, the research books that each chapter is written by an expert. It's just an advanced book, but I mean the simple books. I mean, after that, the best one is thesis, write thesis. Thesis is good because thesis is a new subject, actually. It's a new subject that has been done. And when you read it, in that recommendations or suggestions in the book, there are lots of ideas. The thesis is there are lots of ideas to follow. Then also they are detailed, very detailed thesis. And then research papers. So if you start a research paper, you will suffer if you have not enough knowledge in this subject. It is very hard to understand it. But if you start from the simple, and again, general to specific, always. Books are general, this is more specific, and research paper even more specific. How a literature review should be. A description of all previous research and critical argumentation about it. Well, I would say that I have seen many articles. I mean, they write literature review, but they are not actually doing literature review. They just mention the researches. This guy has done this. The other guy has done that. Okay, I have written this type of this myself, but it depends on the paper. But the correct one is that you comment on each one of them. This guy has done this one with this method and concluded that. The other one has written another thing against the first, this idea, and concluded that no, it should be. You should give a short overview of each paper, each literature that you know, not just to mention that he has done this, the other guy has done that. Or some people, they write, for example, for this type of research, they open a parenthesis or write lines of references. I don't know, it's okay. So what? I cannot see which point is suitable for which. I see that in many journals and many authors, they write like that. But if you want to know the correct one, is that you need to comment, write simply about each one, generally, what they have done and what they have got. And you have to have critical review something. What is missing, then you can find it here. And normally we write it in chronological order. The older one comes first, and you will show how the subject has been developed so far up to your own subject. 10 steps for literature review. I think you know all of them. Specify the problem, identify the keyword, formulate the criteria, including and excluding literature. It means that when you start a research literature review, you will go and find all papers and material that are related to your subject. Do you need to read all of them? Of course not. Of course not. How can I scan it? Simply look at the title, read the abstract, the last paragraph of the introduction, read conclusions. Well, look at the figures and tables, but not too deep. And then you will select the good ones for a deeper literature review. Not all of them from the beginning. Of course, then it is again from general to specific. This is a general to specific. You have a lot of literatures. Read and find the good ones that you want to get in deep inside. So I sometimes write it like that. I will I will copy and paste the title of the paper, read the abstract, read the conclusion, and immediately write under the title what is happening inside the paper. Then another paper. Again, copy and paste the title, read the abstract, conclusions, and then I read. Then I make a list of different papers with a small summary of them. I do like that. And so I try to follow chronological order. Then I try to see which one is more important and which one is not important for me. Then I will weight them. Then I have the text already. Then I try to match them together. One way is to write the literature review in a chronological order. One way is based on the subject. For example, I was doing writing a paper, and there were 3 methods for doing something, and there were a lot of literatures in each one. So I was thinking, if I want to write a literature review, it will be 2 or 3 pages. Who will read it? Nobody. Then I tried to, okay, let's see. Which one of these researchers have used integral equations? Then I found, okay, right. Integral equations. Which one of this paper deals with least square collocation? I wrote least square collocation. Then which one of this method use integral formula, not the integral equation? Then I try to write a general to specific for each site. Just those papers. Those papers. You understand what I mean? You do not have to do it all at once, paragraph one after another. It's very boring. Specify them. This subject has been done like that. The other subject, general to specific. The other subject, general to specific. And what is missing? And I am going to go. So analyze of the contents, and so let me. Thank you. So literature review, positioning yourself against amongst the literatures. You should, when you do the literature review, if you have done it correctly, and you will see what you are mapping actually the research that has been done. Then you will find how much you know about it. When you find how much you know about this, it means that you are positioning yourself amongst this literature. What is my contribution? What I am going to do further? We are not going to repeat what they have done in research. Maybe it's good, and as an academic exercise, you repeat, but nobody will buy it. You should go one step further, one step forward. Gaps, of course, you will find the gaps because you all have background. You know, we have, how many people do we have in world? How many milliards, billions? We have billions points of view. For sure, what you understand from the papers will not be the same what if I read and I got it. So you will have your own view, your own idea. That's valuable. That is good. Of course, you need to discuss with your supervisor, the researcher who has longer experience. Maybe you need to re-problematize the research. I remember when I was PhD student, many times I had ideas. I went to the professor. Professor, what do you think about? Eddie, if you want to have a paper, it's okay. You can have it, but it doesn't gain anything. Okay. So you mean that I do not see any point to do that. It doesn't help anything. So I didn't do it. So discuss so that you do not waste time, just your time, for the things that which are not very valuable. Especially for PhD, you are solving a global problem. What involve another perspective existing study, and is my study needed? That's the main thing. Again, I'll come back to that. You do research to solve a problem, to solve a big problem, not to get PhD, not to get promotion to be professor. Maybe we have how many papers Einstein has published? How many? I don't think so. I published more, but look what he has done with one of few publications. He made a revolution in physics. And we have some papers, some scientists that they have published maybe 5 papers, but they were really contribution. They open many ways, open many gates for others to do it. Look at that. How can I think like that? Get out of this impact factor, get out of these H factors, get out of these things, forget about this thing. These are, I'm recording, I cannot say anymore, but these are the things that these are not really, shouldn't be important. Let me just say, I wrote a paper long ago in 2009, and I had a lot of struggle to publish that book because they say they demand on numerical applications for that. It was very theoretical, full of mathematics. And I said, I cannot do that. I don't have time to do that. I want to give my idea to people, but I may do it, may not do it. And I published it in an open access journal without any impact factor. A couple of years later, one person from University of, what's it called? Princeton University contacted me and said that we are using this article for doing a big research about this localization of the problem. I was very happy just to hear that my research has been read. And it was published in a paper with no impact factor, low-ranked journal, but it has contribution. But I have published also papers in high-ranked journals and nobody has read it. So what is the point then? These things, these numbers, they try to make this number to somehow classify good researchers, good things and bad things, but well, human is corruptive, honestly. Now people are trying to get how to get higher impact factor. How to get, they write papers, this one put his name on the other one, he puts the other name to the other paper. They try to make a network to get high citations. And I don't understand that how a PhD student, after 2 or 3 years of doing research, can get impact factor, the H factor over 25, then on, we have researchers, they are doing good job and they have not reached that level. So these are the things that, please don't think about this. If you do a good job, you will get citation, for sure. For sure. Or I said this example about impact factor or something. I published in law, the most citations that I have got in my scientific life are from those papers that I have published with open access and low impact factor journals, honestly. So how to write objectives? It's an abstract. Abstract is a link to previous research theory. Should be one clear and simple sentence. Start with action verbs. Action verb. Non-mental, emotional, position, and sense. I am doing this research to understand. Nobody will pay you to understand. I am doing this research to feel this emotion. No. Nobody cares about it. You should do something. It's action verb. When you write object, you use action verb. To determine, to specify, to estimate. use this action verbs, not this type. I have tried to categorize them: non-mental, non-emotional, non-position, not sense. Don't use to do something. Look, what is the goal? How you work to work? Find the right verbs to work the goal. Understanding something is not doesn't solve my problem.
No, can I ask a question?
So understanding it doesn't solve the problem for the society. You know, you should find this. Of course, in the question you can ask, you can say this. But for objective is a sentence. It should be smart, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and timely. Smart, it should be smart as well. What is smart? With the word smart, it's an abbreviation. It should be smart, clever, and smart. This is an abbreviation. What is smart?
Sometimes find the fear of what could happen
I apologize for this reclam.
is making nothing happen in your life.
Goodbye.
What are SMART goals? A quick overview with 21 examples. What do you really want from life? We all have dreams and aspirations. Many of us long for fulfilling relationships. Some desire personal freedom. Others want fame and success. And some strive for a profitable business or career. Wherever your ambitions may lie, goal setting can get you there. On the other hand, the wrong goal can leave you feeling frustrated and unmotivated. The trick is to create the right kind of goal and commit to it. One technique that can help is the SMART goals concept. So in this video, I will provide a quick overview of SMART goals. Now be sure to watch this whole video all the way to the end, because I will also give you a free tool you can use to get started with SMART goal setting. What are SMART goals? The SMART goal acronym stands for specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. Here's a breakdown of each letter. S, specific. Specific goals answer your 6 W questions. Who, what, where, when, which, and why. When you can identify each element, you'll know which tools and actions are required to reach a goal. Who is involved? What do you want to accomplish? Where will you complete the goal? When do you want to do it? Which requirements and constraints might get in your way? Why are you doing it? Specificity is important because when you reach these milestones, you'll know for certain you have achieved your goal. And measurable. Measurable goals are defined with precise times, amounts, or other units, essentially anything that measures progress toward a goal. Creating measurable goals makes it easy to determine if you have progressed from point A to point B. Measurable goals also help you figure out when you're headed in the right direction and when you're not. Generally speaking, a measurable goal statement answers questions starting with how, such as how much, how many, and how fast. A, attainable. Attainable goals stretch the limits of what you think is possible. While they're not impossible to complete, they're often challenging and full of obstacles. The key to creating an attainable goal is to look at your current life and set an objective that seems slightly beyond your reach. That way, even if you failed, you still accomplished something of significance. R, relevant. Relevant goals focus on what you truly desire. They are the exact opposite of inconsistent or scattered goals. They are in harmony with everything that is important in your life, from success in your career to happiness with the people you love. T, time-bound. Time-bound goals have specific deadlines. You are expected to achieve your desired outcome before a target date. Time-bound goals are challenging and grounding. The key to creating a time-bound goal is to set a deadline you'll meet by working backward and developing habits. SMART goals are clear and well-defined. There is no doubt about the result you want to achieve. At its deadline, you'll know if you have or haven't achieved a particular goal. Now, the best way to illustrate this concept is to show how you would write a SMART goal. So in the next part of the video, we will provide 3 examples from the 7 different areas of your life for a total of 21 examples. One thing, the following goal examples are a mix of process and outcome goals. So if you would like to learn more, then be sure to watch our video that explains the difference between these 2 types of goals. SMART career goals. Goals are an important part of building a successful career or business, whether it's improving a work-specific skill or focusing on outcomes that expand your business. You want to set challenging milestones that stretch the limit of what you think is possible. Here are 3 SMART career goals you can set. 1. Acquiring new clients. I will acquire 5 new projects for my web design consultancy through referrals, networking, and social media marketing campaigns within 2 months. 2. Improve job performance. I will redo my company's website design by May 1st. This will be done by finding the right graphic designer and web programmer, then using their skills to create a dynamic visual presentation. 3. Increase profits. I will increase profits by 20% this year by acquiring 2 new clients each week, finishing projects 10% faster and cutting $1,000 per month in expenditures. SMART finance goals. The finance category includes a number of important areas of your life: saving for retirement, buying your dream home, planning a vacation, or even becoming financially independent. Here are 3 SMART finance goals you can set. 1. Regular savings. For the next year, I will save 20% of every paycheck and invest it in index funds through my 401k. 2. Living within a budget. I will create a budget of $4,000 every month. Then I'll track every expense and make sure I'm spending less than this amount. 3. Eliminate credit card debt. I will pay the outstanding balance of $5,000 on my credit cards in installments and become totally debt-free in 3 years. This will be done by asking each credit card company to reduce my APR. Then I'll systematically pay off the cards with the highest interest rates down to the lowest interest rates. SMART health goals. This area focuses on building a healthy lifestyle. Your goals might involve weight control, following a diet, or becoming more physically active. Here are 3 SMART health goals you can set. 1. Eat more vegetables and fruits. I will eat a minimum of 5 servings of fruits and vegetables daily by March 31st by mapping out my meals each week, going shopping twice a week, and eating 1 to 2 servings per meal. 2. Get regular exercise. I will work out a minimum of 30 minutes per day, 3 days per week by December 31st. 3. Healthy habit. By June 15th, I will drink 64 ounces or 2 liters of water at work every day. I will do this by setting a reminder at night to fill up my bottles and take them with me when I leave for work in the morning. SMART relationship goals. You can set goals to improve relationships with your significant other, family members, and friends. These goals might focus on your relationship with one person or your relationship with an entire group of people. Here are 3 SMART relationship goals you can set. 1. Express love to my spouse. I will identify 3 things I really love about my partner and tell her about them on Friday night. This will be done by scheduling a 30-minute block on Tuesday so I can reminisce about all the good times we've shared together. 2. Spend quality time with your family. I will strengthen my bond with my family by taking them for a vacation at least once in 6 months. This will be accomplished by setting aside an hour each month during my weekly review session and planning out future trip ideas. 3. Strengthen friendships. Each month, I will plan and coordinate one activity with my closest friends. This task will also be completed during my weekly review session. SMART leisure.
Okay, guys, I think you got the idea by this video. The rest of that you can watch yourself. But you when you define the objective, you should see these 4 things inside that. Time, it should be measurable, and measurable, attainable, relevant, and timely. And from this objective, you come to 1 or 2 research questions. So which type of questions we can have? We have generally 4 types of questions: exploratory, something which is unexplored and not scientifically studied at all. Descriptive, understanding, and already illustrated phenomenon. But you find something which is not done. Some limits, you find the limits. That's called descriptive. Explanatory, you are explaining the causes and effects of something. And predictive, predicting consequence of doing something or happening something. So these are 4 types of the questions that you should extract from, that you can extract from the objectives. The questions are like, for example, what, where, and who. And in the video we saw that you need to have this question in your mind when you write the research objectives. But it doesn't mean that you should write them in the objective. You should have it in mind when you write it. But when you come to research question, you will specify this by questions. So this type of thing, this lead to knowledge about descriptive, exploratory, diagnostic, and classifying the things. Why is based on the understanding something, interpretation of the results. Actually, it is very important for scientific writing or thesis work and papers. It is not enough that you say that I give this input and get that output. You need to discuss about the causes. Then you will answer, okay, if this, for example, this time or this material has less stiffness, why is it so? You cannot say that, this is an instrument giver, so that's not an argument. Then you have to interpret it. And question about how you are mainly working with solving the problem, what you are solving technical things. About intervention-oriented guiding, evaluating, for example. They're mainly how to do something. So be careful that the questions should not have answered yes and no, or so what. If you want to make this research question, ask yourself, yes, no, or so what after that. If this can answer your question, then this question is not researchable. No. Change your question. So